It's the final game of the day, and it's the winners match between Italy and Norway. Only one of these teams will be qualifying today into the top 8. The other team will be duking it out in the decider match, which I believe will be casting tomorrow. Lorinda, we've got one match left today. How are you feeling?
Feeling good, and chat is ready for battle, if I'm reading things correctly. So, see who's joining Denmark, Czech Republic, Chinese Taipei in that top 8, starting to take some shape now. And I think everybody is looking forward to seeing the Descent of Dragons format when it comes out. But first, we have unfinished business, as you've said, in this group. Norway and Italy, see who can get this done overnight and not have their supporters sweat into tomorrow.
Absolutely. Taking a very quick run through of the lineups here. Norway have Druid, Warrior, and Priest, which was shielded. They've had their Shaman banned, which was a token Shaman. On the other side of things, Italy, they still have their Warrior. They still have their Shaman, which was protected. Also token Shaman on their side. They have their Druid, and they have their Priest, which was banned.
Yeah, very similar lineups all the way through this group, actually. With the Priest, the Warrior, the Druid, and the Shaman. And we're kicking it off with the Druid versus the Warrior, something we've seen a lot of, and something is one of the more one-sided matchups in all of Hearthstone right now, to be fair. The Druid tending to get it done. Although we did see, famously, Turkey manage to lose against Romania in the first stage, despite playing 4 Nomis.
So, super fascinating here, Lorinda, is again, going back to my notes that Turner sent me, they expected to see Priest a lot in their group, which is why they brought Druid instead of Rogue compared to in the last phase where they brought Rogue instead of Druid. So they brought the Druid because they wanted to counter the Priest. Norway not only brought Priest, but shielded it in this matchup. So it would indicate that they're not afraid of Italy's decisions that, in theory, counter the Priest.
That's a really interesting viewpoint, because the Rogue is bad, but the Druid isn't exactly some sort of stunner against Priest.
Right.
So if we get that matchup, it will be interesting to see how it goes.
Unity, precision.
I'm getting game sounds, which is really weird, actually.
But this is a matchup that we very regularly see go the Warriors' way. Sorry, the Druids' way. As the amount of pressure it's able to come out with, and the infiniteness that it can come out with, is just too much for the Warrior to survive through. And even in fatigue, the Druid does end up winning this one quite often.
Yeah, you have to negotiate the Hakan. I'm just getting the deck list to make sure there is one in Italy's deck. I know we just saw it, but I wasn't sure who played it in the last match. Or did both sides?
That's right.
Well, yeah, they've got the Hakar.
No.
So
no, the United Kingdom actually don't have a... The UK actually didn't have a Hakar in the Warrior deck, which was, again, quite a different way to go. But yeah, in this matchup, the Warrior does have it. And as you said, Hakar is very key here. We saw a matchup yesterday where I believe we were saying, yeah, the Druid is like 80 to 90% likely to win this one because there's no Hakar in the Warrior deck. Well, we'll see how having Hakar changes things.
Yeah, not much is the answer. The Warrior definitely has more chance. It ends up getting a 1 in 4 or 1 in 5, depending how they time it late into the match, to put a blood into the deck and not die the next turn. Basically, they have to have enough armor first of all to be able to shield slam their own Hakar. That's a big deal. And if they can do that, then they will get one chance for Norway to hit the blood, and if the blood goes in, then it switches off Elise and Zephyris and leaves no other option. And there is an option as well in some builds of the Druid to just get the board and hit the Warrior really hard, and then the Warrior dies and it doesn't go down to all that mess at the end. Basically, it's good for the Druid, but it can lose. But at the moment,
it's working really hard.
The United Kingdom with his Warrior, yeah. Tries to do it again, just put the back foot, slow things down a bit, get some board, make the Druid respond, not attack. Oh, here's a turn. It's really weird. Are you
Yeah,
hearing
you
game
take-
sounds?
Yeah, I can quietly. Why is that unusual for us?
It's the first time today, yeah, for me.
Okay.
But if it's meant to be there, then that's absolutely fine.
What to do?
And just trying to work out how much they want to over or not over commit to this board.
It's a weird one, isn't it? Because on one hand, you don't necessarily want to overextend and lose hard to a brawl, but on the other hand, you kind of want to get this stuff out of your hands, don't you?
Yes, you want to make sure you've got that sort of composition that we like to use, especially as Battlegrounds is now a thing. What composition do you want your last 4 or 5 cards to be? And the thing I always bang on about, you want King Fo is out of your hand and doing something, even if it's small, sometime in the middle game.
Yes.
Because
yes,
it
that
just
was something
gets
that you
stuck as
mentioned.
Clutter at the end.
Yeah, there was something you talked about quite a lot yesterday, and you were proven to be absolutely right. Although the player did end up winning the game, the King Feoris did not make things any easier, and would have been much more helpful early on.
Who dare?
Here comes the first round of beating there. They are going with the Belgium strategy of the warrior can't mess around with the car if the warrior is dead. And they're going to use the Feoris as a reload if this lot dies.
Yep, can't complain about that strategy. Feoris would be summoning a 6-drop and a 2-drop. It's not amazing, but it's probably good enough to put down a reasonable amount of pressure. And as we can see from Letter's hand, there's not an awful lot he can do about this board.
Yeah, I mean, the whole point is expecting this to get killed and destroyed, but actually, Italy are just going to have to do what they can to remove anything here. And anything is not a whole lot.
No Brawl, no Plague of Wrath. Just going to use the Warpath to the best of their ability, removing 2 minions, 3 minions even. But still leaving 17 damage on the board with only 25 health. That's scary. There's a
If this
Zephyrus
is
in
active,
hand.
that's just going to be
That
game.
That is just lethal. What a
Bloodlust.
quick game.
Yeah,
I mean,
Bloodlust
take-
is just going to do it, and this is the reason that...
Take your pick. Bloodlust,
This is the
Savage
reason.
Roar. The timing of us right now. You go.
No, it's fine. It's done. I'm just going to say, this is the reason that Warrior is so unfavoured. Not only do we always talk about the end game where the Warrior doesn't win, but there's like a middle game and an early game where the Druid can just destroy. And Italy actually got the board there temporarily for 1 turn. Made it look like the Warrior was going to have to fight. And the board just gets blown up and off you go.
We're having a great time, Lorinda, with what we're now calling caster lag, which is just where we just interrupt each other constantly. I'm sorry about that. I hope you don't hold it against me too much.
I'm used to it. I do it to everybody in real life, so it's time to get it back on stream.
Fair enough. Well, Norway take their first win. They've still got their warrior and their priest to go. For Italy, they've already lost with their warrior once. We've not seen warrior performing exceptionally well this week so far. One of these teams can prove us wrong soon. But here we go. Letter now on the druid up against Hunter Ace, the Wonder Boy himself.
Well, this is the matchup they said you were saying that they brought. They thought the druid could take the priest. See if they were right. Hunter Ace with a Northshire cleric in his hand for the 493rd consecutive game.
Is someone injured?
Oh, the game looks so different with a Northshire cleric. Alright, so Italy, have they got anything weird prepared, like saving the coin, killing the minions, and waiting for the quest, for instance? You can coin wrath this, it's a big, big decision.
It is, but you do like to kill a Northshire cleric on turn 1, don't you? Letter certainly
They like to,
does.
look at it, and that's where they're going. sets you back so far on the quest, but if the Northshire Cleric's dead, it sets back the priest's ability to do things as well, in theory. Okay, picking up the Crystal Merchant will help them a significant amount. It will enable them to get back the lost cards, because obviously Wrath is more than just a removal spell, it's a card draw that you've not used as well.
But Hunter Ace picking up the vital card there, the vital Netheset Ritualist. With an Inner Fire in hand, Lorinda, do you think Hunter Ace ever just goes for it? Turns this into a 6/6?
Yes. He's going to have to do some counting to see if he thinks it gets there, and so am I. But yeah, it's definitely an option. If you're doing 8 a turn for 4 turns, then that's 32, that's enough. That means you get to the Druid before it gets to use its completed quest. Obviously they can interfere, and you're a little bit worried because they've just wasted, in the biggest inverted commas ever, a Wrath on turn 1. So maybe there's a hint that they've got more removal. Which they haven't, but it's a perfectly good read to potentially make, that perhaps they don't mind removing it because they've got more. But yes, I think you make a 6/6 and you wedge it straight into the Druid's mush. That is exactly what's going on. Bomb.
Yeah, not much Lezzer can do about that. Not much he's going to be able to do about that in the near future. Maybe a Worthy Expedition can pick up something. I don't know what, though.
Do you Psycho Pump? It's the old Edwin versus Warrior question. You know that there's mind control techs in their deck. You used to just play an Edwin against Warriors. And if you played another minion, you'd give them a 50-50 brawl to remove your Edwin, or you could just win. Now, this is nowhere near as dangerous as that, because first of all, they don't have to have MC tech, and secondly, it's only a 1 in 4 to go wrong.
True.
But they have to seriously consider if they want to Psycho Pump here, because it does give that out. Hunter Ace may decide that he thinks he's just going to make a 6/12, and it will win the game. It's a perfectly legitimate prospect.
How does a Druid kill a 6/12 in reality, before the quest's even been completed?
Slowly.
Right.
Yeah, not yet. It doesn't happen. They
And
can
there's a circle of
silence it. They
healing.
can get Worthy Expedition into Silence Man, Keeper of the Grove, or Loti as well, which takes a while, but yeah, it's a possibility. So he's going to go with what I think is the right play. But yeah, Letter's rubbing his hands because now he's got a 1 in 4 of at least keeping the game alive. He's taking some deep breaths to psych himself up, channeling all the energy he's got into this 6/6.
There's one great outcome, one okay outcome, 2 bad ones. Gets one of the bad ones. Oh dear.
Takes the cat.
6, 7, 8, 9 damage still on board. Ooh. Another card that just doesn't do
The only
anything.
question this turn is how many cards does Hunter Ace want to draw? He's got a chance to just win the game if he uses the circle on a lot of cards and just picks up second Inner Fire.
He might
It's
as
not
well
quite there,
just.
actually, but even so.
You might as well just do it, right? Just trade the Cleric and the Netheset into the Crystal Merchant, and then heal all 3 back up again.
Yeah, I think you have to kill the Psycho Pump because that's threatening to take out your 6/6.
But you can Divine Spirit the 6/6 afterwards.
Yeah.
You could just go
you can make
trade,
it 6/12.
circle, Divine Spirit. Yeah, exactly. Or 6. If a Beaming Psychic or something's picked up, even bigger than that.
Draw them
6/16.
cards, Hunter Ace. So many cards, so many cards.
Wow, he's gonna forego the face attack here. And why not? This is essentially guaranteeing lethal next turn this way.
Yeah, the quest isn't even completed due to that turn 1 Wrath, which again, I have no problem with that turn 1 Wrath.
Alright, well, Divine
Splitting the
Spirit,
difference, so it's
topsy-turvy.
very hard. Yeah, he's got this next turn.
Does Ferocious Howl prevent it? gains 7 armor, back up to 23 health.
Sure. It might.
I think it does actually prevent the lethal. Wait, actually no, with extra arms, that's a 20 attack.
Yeah, there's a lot of arms.
No, yeah. Because of the extra arms, it's still lethal. Well, this may be the quickest series of the tournament, Lorinda, as Norway take their 2nd win.
Yeah, this has been rapid. Even the Druid versus the Warrior was, again, I think only Belgium in week 1 did any quicker. And this is 1,000,000 damage. It's like Derek's number, 273411653 for those that are playing along at home. You got it right, message Derek to Glastonbury or something, I don't know what he said.
Did you actually memorize that?
I wrote that one down.
Okay. Well, congratulations.
I memorised
Lorinda, but more
81132329.
Congratulations to Norway taking the 2nd win of the series. What a quick one! This is turning out to be the question remains. Can Norway get their 3rd win? Can they win with the Warrior? We'll be finding out as this final series of the day concludes just after this. Norway are kicking Italy's butts in this series so far in the Hearthstone Global Games. The score is 2-0 with only Warrior left standing. But Lorinda, we have seen Warrior struggling a little bit over the course of the last few days. Do you think Norway will get this win fairly easily?
Bring it on!
I mean, nothing ever seems to be easy with Warrior. Oh, and thank you, Turner. You lovely, lovely man. Warrior Mirror match. My favourite thing to say in the whole world.
I thought this series was going a little bit fast, Lorinda.
Yeah, there's always a spanner in the works or a wrench in the dog or whatever the Americans say. Don't quite know what they say instead. So have a look at the decks. Is there much difference? Italy, Youthful Brewmaster, Haka, Geppetto. Norway have got...
No Geppetto in Norway, but everything else, yeah. Norway have a Hecklebot.
Yeah, it's basic. So they do have a Hecklebot. It means they can launch it out there and try and hit Elysiana when they've got enough armor to blow Elysiana up. And that would result in a fairly rapid victory.
Turner's really chilling right now, Lorinda. Look how chill Turner is.
Yeah, I think that's how we all feel about Warrior Mirrors over the years. Well,
Turner, wake up and take your turn.
Nobody guessed the number last time. Letters in chat having a look at this. Now he understands what was going on. Why wasn't he responding? It was a great look of Turner.
What now?
So,
hopefully he hasn't actually lagged out.
Yeah, that would be unfortunate. But then again, would it matter too much? He'd be missing out on gaining 2 armor.
That's a fair point.
Maybe the 2 armor is relevant in the long run.
There is a decision to make here. The decision being, what do you do with this Acolyte of Pain? You really don't want to play it, but you have just seen them overwhelm the United Kingdom by getting to their stuff quickly, etc. But that's a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Right. Not drawing cards in a game that might go forever is the way forward, almost always.
Yeah, I mean, if they drew more cards, maybe they'd have started drawing Bloods before the UK in the last series and maybe lost as a result. Turner, please stop roping and then just hero power passing. Come on, mate.
Yeah, this one's down to you. Your Italian life and blood, so... blaming you entirely for any roping that may occur.
I mean, I wasn't going to mention this because, you know, Hunter Race is playing this series and it feels like a fool's errand to support the team that's playing against Hunter Race.
No, unlucky. Always support Hunter Race, as I have done proudly for many years now.
You have done, absolutely. In fact, it was in Hearthstone Global Games that I remember the very first year Hunter Ace really shone, especially with his Quest Rogue play. Back in the day, I remember him dispatching Pirate Warrior with Quest Rogue with a very nice use of Glacial Shards. Way back when, before he was the multiple tour stop and world champion winner.
Yeah, I remember Zyres coming up to me one day at a DreamHack and, you know, rambling a little bit for various reasons, but Zyres was one of the big names in Norway, along with possibly Zork Club. I think Zyres was better known. And he mentioned, look, you're not talking about Hunter Ace enough. And I'm like, well, we don't know much about him. He says, look, this guy is the future of Hearthstone. He is the best player ever. And although Zyres sometimes has controversial opinions, he was really set on this one. And I'm like, okay, I'm just going to trust you. I'm just going to say that Hunter Ace is the best player and see where it gets me as a caster. Boy, did I back the right horse on that one. Thank you, Zyres, for my career.
And as a result of cheering on Hunter Ace.
2 years.
Well, speaking of genius, let's see what this Hecklebot does. How smart is this Hecklebot?
Precision.
It's a Ziliax. It's not that smart.
It might not seem smart right now, but this is Hunter Ace's Hecklebot. It knows what it's doing. You watch, there'll be 3 health in it at the end, and it'll all be because they managed to get rid of this Ziliax. Or something, before it got magnetized. Well, the fractional advantage, and it is fractional, is currently with Norway. The Hecklebot is 1 card closer to fatigue, even though it missed on the big targets. And also, they're not messing around with an Acolyte in their hands. They're playing with a hand size of 10 versus a hand size of 9. And yes, those things are likely almost completely irrelevant to the scheme of things. The card's relevant. But...
They did then immediately play the Town Crier, though, so they're not shying away from drawing cards too much.
Yeah. It's not... For me, the most
Shield
important
block as
thing
well?
in the whole matchup is... That's interesting. Is the Elysianas. Like, if you get a good Elysiana and your opponent doesn't, or if you can do what Italy did to United Kingdom and just make it so the opponents can't play their Elysiana because you've got the board, then that's the thing. And it maybe Hunter Ace and NTR are going for that strategy of just keeping the board for a while. Because in an ideal world, you would like to save all your removal for post Elysiana. It's never ever going to happen, but in the super ideal world, if you've got one extra brawl and you get equally Elysianas, you're going to have quite a big advantage.
No way of stopping that Hakar from going off, and it's not even clear as to whether or not Hunter Ace would want to prevent that Hakar from getting its death rattle.
Yeah, it's interesting because Italy have thrown it out there, despite not having their own Elysiana, but they're working on the Geppetto line that they're more likely to get it than
What now?
Norway. Does give them a reasonable edge in the matchup.
I must choose.
I mean, it would appear to me that the player with the edge is the player that's actually dealing a reasonable amount of damage this turn. And that player is Hunter Ace. Look at this. Look at this damage going face. There goes the armor.
Yep. That's a big deal. Shuts down the shield slams for the time being. Obviously, they're going to get 7 armor back, but definitely some work being done, and the health totals do matter. Even if they don't account to lethal now, you can take fewer bloods before you have to panic, etc., etc.
So, Shield Slam on the Ziliax, Plague of Wrath, would allow this Hakar to go straight through to the face. Follow that with a Whirlwind to deal with the 1/1s. Okay, no, Turner decides not to go that route. Actually does guarantee the kill on the Hakar instead. Or decides the Shield Slam in hand is more valuable.
Yeah.
Than the immediate damage.
Yeah, they do have the Dr. Boom, so that could make things exciting. You can get Elysiana.
Elysiana.
Or it could get a really interesting Law Walker Cho that survives 5 brawls or whatever it was the other day.
Oh, don't remind me. Alright, here's the second Hakar. So this game is going to speed up quite dramatically as both decks are going to have 2 Bloods in very shortly. And you can't outlive those forever.
No, it always feels totally irrelevant when you're looking at health totals of 50 versus 37 effective health. But it does chug away quite quickly, especially as the bloods multiply. And it also starts to block off your Elysiana. And again, Italy do have the Geppetto in their decks. They've got a lot bigger chance of it just not being awkward for them. Plus, they've got Dr. Boom Mad Genius, which used to be everything this matchup was about. If you get that for 7 or 8 turns longer than your opponent, a lot of the other stuff we've talked about doesn't matter. You just have much more value.
Okay, then.
I love Kaboombot. Back in the day where there were slots in Control Warrior, I like to play Kaboombot main.
I remember that, yeah.
When Dr. Boom cost 7, so it added up to 10, it was really good turn 10 to just play Dr. Boom, Kaboombot their stuff away. It was quite nice.
Rather than Spider
But these
Bomb.
days, slots are tight. Spider Bomb.
It's just the same, but it kills a minion. Yeah, true.
Mm-hmm.
True. Kaboombot will come back from the N'Zoth, though.
Yep, that's
So
kinda
will the
tasty.
Pinata
Probably. It's
after
even...
it-
Oh, yeah.
So, use the Pinata first, get it back, that's an extra legendary minion. And this extra value might end up being important, depending on what the legendary minions
Oh.
given are.
Yeah, I mean, every single piece of value in this matchup is very often important. You just don't get to see it all come together until both Elysianas have been played, and then you get a feel for who might be in front. A lot of the time, at least. But yeah, I mean, Norway have drawn none of their key cards. Although Italy haven't got Elysiana, they have got the Dr. Boom, they have got the N'Zoth. They have got some weird legendary death rackety stuff going on. They've got to be a bit careful because Cartoots are quite good to get back as Norway pick up the first blood and the second blood.
That's
a big
now
deal.
four bloods in the deck, Lorinda.
Yeah, things could get nasty now. They have to stay in there until they pick up the Elysiana. They don't have any choice unless they can get Dr. Boom and make some crazy stuff that can't be dealt with. But currently there's no sight of either.
I wonder.
You know what? Honestly, those two bloods being drawn early might single-handedly decide this game.
Yeah, it sounds weird to say it, but yes, they very well might.
It just cascades out of control from here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they've got a 1 in 3 chance of drawing a blood with 12 cards in their deck, and it gets pretty silly pretty quick.
No tomb can hold me. No tomb can hold me.
Before they've even drawn the Elysiana. So as excited as I'm
But that is
getting
also
about the
people-
weaponized Pinata, it's just not going to matter too much.
It's fun when you get excited about cards like that. Another N'Zoth coming from Weaponized Pinata, for instance.
Oh, they could just loop off of each other forever.
Or they could get more Explodinators, then get all the Explodinators back, and there'll be just stuff everywhere, going straight into the face. It'd be great. Bounce it back, make some more bombs, have a whole board. Board lock yourself with 0-2s, lose the game because of it.
This would be a good time.
There's a way
for
to lose a
nice
game, Falk.
game.
I can find it. And I have many times. Okay, what's in the pinata? We're going to find out very soon. I hope.
That's if Hunter Ace ever
Two,
gives
you know-
Turner anything to trade into.
Yeah. Well, he's going to have to eventually, because they're going to befall the same fate that the UK befelled at some point, which is just getting beaten down. You've got to do something. Even Lumi's getting in on the action now. Number one. Of many, I can imagine. Liam? Not useful now, but could end up useful after an Elysiana.
Yeah, that's true actually. Is there another? Is there another Town Crier in the deck? Maybe that would be a random.
Have a look.
It's all
Have a
one cost
look.
cards, right? Not just spells. So yeah, it would.
Is it one cost cards?
Wait, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong.
Ooh. You're probably right. I haven't seen Liam for a while. I used to play it in testing Tarz's versions of Paladin.
Battle Cry, transform all one-cost cards in your deck into random legendary minions. So yeah, if there's still a Town Crier in the deck, then that's actually
Well,
kind of
Corrupted
random.
Blood costs 1 foul. Corrupted
Oh!
Blood costs 1.
Oh, Lorinda, you
You
genius!
can turn your Corrupted Bloods into actual legendary cards and you will never die to them.
I mean, it already looked like Turner was going to win, but... What the heck? Well, there you go.
Absolutely nutty. And there was another Town Crier for what it was worth.
You can argue that the
That's
Liam
not
is
the
going to win
biggest
the
deal.
game. I do think that actually Italy were going to win this game regardless, due to the fact that Norway already have 5 Bloods in their deck and Italy only have 2. But wow. So Turner can actually afford to draw
And
a
you
few
checked
of those
his-
Bloods. Huh?
Definitely cards, right?
Definitely cards.
Definitely cards.
But even if it was spells,
Okay,
the Bloods
then
are
it
spells,
definitely
right?
works. Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely works. In fact, I can remember, I think it was even... I can't remember when, but I remember seeing a tournament where a player was playing a Paladin with Hakar in it, with Prince Liam in it. And that was why. It's definitely a thing that works.
Mhm. Just do it. I know they're not desperate yet, but just do it anyway. Unless they're waiting to get more.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, it just guarantees the win on the
Yeah,
field.
there's no hurry.
He can afford to draw a few Bloods. Maybe fill the deck up with 5 or 6 of the things, then just turn them all into legendary minions.
Who needs
Then he
a
can
farm when you've got
Right.
Liam?
Then you can afford to not play Elysiana for a while, and you're just ahead in the fatigue game, even in the event the Hunter Race does play Elysiana.
Yeah, that's absolutely silly. Lysiana, though, picked up for Norway, so silly or otherwise, they do now have a chance because they're going to get to run with the new 10 cards when they feel it's needed, which will be as soon as they draw another blood or 2, most likely. They want to do it before the board gets out of control. We saw what happened with the UK. The board got out of control. They could never play Elysiana. Obviously, if you do it too early, you just lose the fatigue game.
I think, Lorinda, we find ourselves in another one of those situations where if the players could just reveal their hands to one another, this game would end very quickly.
That belongs in a museum.
I don't know, because Elysiana can just win you the game. That's the problem.
Oh,
You just
6
jam
bloods.
it and hope, and you might get lucky. Like, if Elysiana finds a couple of Nazoths and who knows what else, the game's back on. But obviously Italy are strongly favoured from here.
What now?
6 bloods in the deck, Lorinda. 6 bloods in Hunter Ace's deck.
Yeah, he really wants that Doctor move before getting rid of them. He also wants the deck to be as full as possible, obviously for reasons, but...
3 bloods now in Italy's deck.
They're
Italy
not in
is
position to overdraw.
they are so ahead in the fatigue game. So ahead.
Yeah, they're ahead every game. They've got all of the key cards now. Apart from Elysiana, so they are going to have to run the Gauntlet, but with a Gamma, as the case may be.
Harrison,
But-
great. Just jam it.
Yeah, this is the problem now for Norway, if they're still alive at the end of all these bloods. Is
9
the problem
bloods
is
now
when
in
do
the
they
deck,
get
I
to play
believe.
their Elysiana?
Yeah, I mean they have to play it now, but they can't afford to. I think that this is just
'Cause-
GG. Right?
Italy
Because if they
have
don't-
done exactly what they did to the United Kingdom.
two of the 11 cards in Hunter Ace's deck are not bloods. So if Hunter Ace doesn't play Elysiana now, which he doesn't think he's going to, then he loses a lot of the time just by drawing cards next turn.
Yes.
Make that
Yeah.
10.
And all Italy have to do is keep the pressure on the board now. And Norway's hope is they don't draw a blood next turn and hit the real cards left. Don't play that unless it's not fetching anything.
They can afford to play 1 or 2 bloods.
Can't be fetching anything.
Alright, 5 bloods now in Italy's deck, or should I say 5 random legendary minions? 6 random legendary minions in Italy's deck?
Yeah. Please just play Liam. I know that you're being greedy. That is correct play, but I want to see it. Okay, this is Hunter Ace's chance. If he doesn't die to the million bloods in his deck, 11 you think it is? It's better guesstimate than I have.
10 bloods in Hunter Ace's deck. I've been...
Yeah, he's got to play Luciana right now.
11, 12, 13 bloods, 14 bloods, 15.
And now they're dead to Liam, so they don't get the chance to play Luciana.
Yep, and 15 of the 16 cards in the deck are bloods. So, yeah, it's going to be the game. Oh, wait, no.
Well, they can Luciana coin hero power
Coin
if
weapons.
they want.
Or coin weapons project.
Yeah, that's better. That works better.
It's marginally better. It's...
I mean, it's out of zap range, which is important.
And like I said, Lorinda, earlier on, I believe this game was won by Italy the moment Hunter Ace drew those 2 back-to-back bloods much earlier on.
Yeah, I mean, they were definitely a long way ahead there, and I think Hunter Ace held out for Dr. Boom, thinking that he probably couldn't win without it.
Is it just me?
There was...
Is it just me? Or does Elysiana get N'Zoth almost every single time? I swear
for me, it just gets another Elysiana.
I swear every game I've cast where an Elysiana has been played, a N'Zoth has been discovered from. Without fail.
It's a big deal. It's a very big deal. Especially on the health total that they're on. They did get a particularly awful set of cards apart from N'Zoth. There's a big bad Archmage in there that might leap to their assistance. But now we've got the Explodinator nonsense going on as well.
We've just got lethal going on. Turner takes that one down with a game which just went right for Italy in every way you can imagine. The Prince Liam didn't even matter. Hello, Kat.
She's turned up to cheer on Norway, I think. Norway or Italy? No, she wants food, apparently. Unlucky.
Okay. Well, I definitely agree with that opinion as we move into game 4. It's going to be Italy on the Druid now, up against the Warrior, which again, we know as the Druid to be a pretty good matchup, as long as Hakar things don't go wrong. But oftentimes, the Druid doesn't really give the Warrior long enough to play Hakar.
Yeah, we've seen Belgium and somebody else, Italy themselves, just beating down on the Warrior with the Druid early on. It's definitely a big deal. Nourish as well in their hand. In fact, it's a decent hand here for Italy. Doesn't look that good, but it'll develop so quickly into a good hand. How many nourishes does one team need? Let's have a look at their composition, their build that will lead into their composition if they go all the way to the end. Italy are playing with Ferris, Cenarius, Banker is that build. And all the usual bells and whistles that go with that build. So nothing too ridiculous there. just infinite guns at the end of the deck for 35 armor a turn?
So the answer to your
Nothing
question,
too
Lorinda,
ridiculous.
of how many nourishes can someone possibly need? The answer is as many as possible. Letta has one goal this game, and
Yeah.
it is to draw the entire deck and get to that infinite position before Hakar and the Bloods become a problem. Because as we saw in the game yesterday, the rather hilarious game, which has now just reminded me that really we should be tracking turns here, is the Druid is able to fill up their hand at the end of every turn and actually get rid of the Bloods that way. As long as there aren't
Yeah.
already 2 Bloods in the deck shutting down the Elise.
So you don't need to keep track of turns, just cards drawn by the warrior, and then you can work the turns out from there. So Town Crier is 1 fewer turns. Then when we get to the end of the deck, they went second, so you can work it out from there. How many cards they start with, all that stuff. But it's a lot you need to go through. And yes, it can matter. However,
So
I'm
if
not
I'm-
going to do it
If I'm
because I will mess
if
it
I'm
up.
not mistaken, Lorinda, if I'm not mistaken, the warrior went first, and we are about to move into turn 5. So I'm keeping a tally here.
Okay. And they played the Town Crier.
I mean, I'm not going to count cards in the deck. I'm literally just going to, every time a turn passes, I'm going to just add a tally.
Okay,
So
it's
5.
so much easier to carry cards along, but okay. I guess with hard cards it could get messy. So, as we are on the slow march from Falcone counting from 1 to 43 or so.
That's it. That's my job.
There was a game of Hearthstone.
You cast. I'll count. Fair deal.
Oh, you're probably better than me. It's better than guess the number. No.
Can hold me.
To manage. As well as expectations.
The real point, though, is that the Druid can often get the damage done before getting to that vital stage at the end of the game at turn 6. And the Warrior can genuinely get that Hakar out and have the opponent draw a Blood before getting to play any Elises, and the second Blood will shut down Elise for the remainder of the game.
Yes. And that is all. We've probably talked about that, I don't know, 12 times over the last 3 weeks. And we have yet to reach that stage for various reasons. Oh, we saw it once. We did see it once where a team went for it on the right turn. I still believe it was France, but I may be completely wrong. I'm just going to say France for everything. I'll be right one time in 32. And they went for it with 4 cards left in the opposing deck, and the opponents drew the Blood, and that was a win. But you can't go for it too late, or the Druid just locks up shop, and you can't go for it too early, or the chance of them hitting the Blood is not very good, because they lock up shop, guaranteed. So you have to shield slam it the turn you play it, and it's just all a bit tedious.
It's definitely a weird matchup. I remember back in the day when Druid was simple, Lorinda. There was Force of
Well, you
Nature,
hit them for
Savage Draw
14.
Druid. Yeah. Or if you were feeling really, you wanted to do something really weird, you play Ramp Druid, as it was called at the time, which was Ancient of Wars, or Wall Druid. It was just powerful minions.
That just sounds like the most foul deck ever. Well, I did hear you say you were a Togwaggle Druid fan earlier, so you're now off the Christmas card list. Yeah, like I said, Christmas cards. No, in fairness, Togwaggle Druid was a very interesting deck a lot of the time. It was just a lot of the time it wasn't. When you had a good Togwaggle game, it was good. I will give it that. There was a lot going on. And watching some of these guys playing it was a joy, to be honest. Some of them were fantastic at it.
Turn 8. It's pretty easy for me to count at the moment. I could just look at how many mana crystals NTR has. That's not going to work for much longer.
Yeah, I was going to say, we don't look at how many mana crystals Letta has, or you'll get it wrong.
Right.
So even that's not trivial. You have to look at the right side and a number of things that can go wrong here. As you can tell, the warrior is in a spot where it can clear up boards, and so we are talking absolute nonsense.
We are, however, now Letta has a bunch of options available. King Feorus gonna be slammed down. 2 5 drops, 2 6 drops, Lorinda. Oh my goodness, there's a Togwaggle.
Yeah, I'm really happy about this, even though it's going to get brawled, because most teams just don't get the brawl sucked out this way. They're sticking around, not playing the Feorus. This was a very easy one, but even so, they elected just to whack it onto the board like you should. And that is just a removal spell gone. This is the true use of this card. Don't hold on for a big one. I mean, it is a big one anyway. Just play it. Just play the card the first chance you get.
Yeah, I agree. It's one of the first times I've actually seen Feorus being played in one of these games. And yeah, a
They're
brawl
going to
does deal with
for
it.
all this. Now, from where they were sat, if this hit Kun, that would have been a massive deal. Hitting Fluke's actually a huge deal.
Yeah, it's a disaster for Letta. There goes the infinite combo. I think I can stop counting turns now.
Probably a good idea.
Yeah, this game...
They're not going to find an easy way to bounce it back.
For anyone that's confused about that, the way the infinite combo works relies on you playing Elise and then playing the banker and playing Fluke in order to keep Elise's going. And to keep the bankers
soft.
going.
There's 2 million damage on the board and no removal spells. What light through yonder window breaks? I never was good at Shakespeare.
I wonder.
Well, it's just lethal, isn't it?
I mean, you can play Dr. Boom against
Okay,
You can play Nazoth. Is there anything gone?
Currently, there's 29 damage on board, and NTR has 29 health. So now NTR has 56 health. There's a swipe in hand, it's 33. It's not quite lethal now.
It's super close though.
If Zephyrus was active,
Just active.
That would-
Oh, can they? Yeah, can they activate it? Can they run
active.
one of their own minions?
Well, they can even nourish and then just get Wind Fury with it to win with the Kern, right?
They would have. Yeah, that would work.
They're going for it. It was incredibly unlikely. Well, actually, no, it wasn't unlikely. There's a
No, it's very
There's only 5
likely
cards
to
there.
activate.
now innovate.
It was less likely
plus-
because they drew 2 innovates and it wasn't enough, so they must have needed to
Innovate.
draw.
Innovate plus Wrath does allow Letta to draw another card and still have the mana to.
And they are. They're still going for it.
No, sorry, they don't even need to play the Innovate. What am I talking about? No, that Zephyr still isn't
The
looking
reason
active to
they're
me.
going through this convoluted silliness is because if you don't finish the warrior, it can go wrong. It shouldn't, and it's very unlikely to, but it's definitely in your interests. And it's advancing your strategy anyway to some extent.
Yeah, I mean, that being said, how does NCR clear the board and heal up? He doesn't. Letta takes of the series. Thank goodness I stopped counting turns. The score is now 2-2, and it's all going to come down to Norway on the Warrior versus Italy on the Shaman.
Yeah, and this is notoriously bad for the Shaman, but I tell you what, the Shaman can definitely win this. If they just stick a board with Soul of the Murlocs and a Bloodlust, Warrior, it's definitely not favoured, but it's not one of those not favoured that you never win. It happens a lot.
Well, here goes nothing.
And this
Turn's
game has
going to
been
give it a
pretty
try,
insane.
and there is a Desert Hare in the opening hand, so don't count Italy out just yet.
Yeah, and that Druid, just want to go back to that for a moment. That's another way that we've just seen the Druid have an accident and still win. It lost the infinite combo. Didn't matter. Just too much stuff. Novice Engineer. Not the worst. Not ideal, obviously, but nothing's ideal in that 30th slot, as we've talked about extensively. which is fine.
Okay.
They're pretty much all
2-3.
fine. That's why it's okay.
Yeah.
They've still got the 2 mana to play the novice. But Norway have drawn lots of early board minions, which is actually far more important than it might sound. They'll get the removal later, they've just got to not die to the hares early on. Safer board to play the novice into, it's not going to give your opponent loads of armour. Now, this is a matchup where you can't usually just throw the hare out there. They'll be trying to stick a board with Thunderhead, Voltaic Burst, Soul of the Murloc at some point, but that's already, you're talking turn 6, that's already getting a bit slow. Woo.
It's just not come together yet. Even an Evolve would make this hand feel reasonable. Voltaic Burst plus Lickham definitely feels reasonable. At least it's going to prevent that Eternium Rover from continuing to gain armor. And now for NTR, an interesting question for him to answer is it worth warpathing this? I really don't think it is.
And that's why the question was asked, because it's a really annoying board. Against a lot of decks, you don't need to care. Against the Shaman, you do need to care, because if next turn they just hero power Soul of the Murloc, obviously Warpath gets through it, that's fine. But it's just irritating. For where Italy are, they're hoping against hope there's no Warpath. Warpath kind of destroys this deck. And now they're just down to trying to draw an Evolve, which would make a huge difference if they could get it!
Okay! We have a game!
Now, when do you want to do it? I think you wait 1 turn, so you can play the Soul of the Murloc and hero power as well. Sorry, Soul of the Murloc and do all the things. Looks like he's going to go for it.
Well, doing it the turn into the Brawl doesn't feel good, but it's going to be difficult to find a turn that does feel good to do it. Here we go.
I don't like
okay.
next turn. Next turn's a big deal because it's super hard to kill everything, and then you can draw Bloodlust. Okay, it's 38, you've got to get on with it, but it's a tougher call than it looks.
Whizbang the Wonderful. I mean, at least there is a Death Rattle, but it doesn't matter because NTR can just deal with the Death Rattle first. So 1 minion's going to survive. Turner's going to hope that it's the 5/6 Omega Devastator.
The more I look at that turn, the more I don't like it, because the Sea Giant in hand as well.
Oh, okay. Coins Shield Slam, of course. I was about to tell you, it looked like it paid off,
So-
Lorinda, for a second there, but carry on.
Kind of. Well, if they'd waited, they could have got the Soul of the Murloc down, and then that would guarantee they'd land a Sea Giant a lot of the time after the draw,
Okay.
which is far more powerful than this mossy crew they now have.
Well, they are not.
And again, they're not rated the Soul of the Murloc as highly as me at all.
Yeah, they're not going to play around the second board clear, so unfortunately for Turner... I mean, the problem with the Soul of the Murloc against the Warpath is that Warpath just beats it, right?
Yeah, it does if you play it like in an individual. If you play it alongside the Hare Evolve, a lot of your minions will get 5 health or a decent number,
Yes,
2 or 3.
yeah, I agree.
And so the Soul of the Murloc protects those minions, which is why I would have delayed it a turn, personally.
I definitely get that. Brawl doesn't beat Soul of the Murloc. Warpath wouldn't necessarily beat the Evolve, and wouldn't have, as we saw, as Whizbang the Wonderful and Omega Devastator had 5 health. So, yeah.
And you have to hope they don't have both. If they have both, you're kind of messed up anyway.
It was something that Turner had to consider, I guess, in his opinion. He figured better do the things sooner rather than later. There's less chance of my opponent having the appropriate board clears if I do them now. But it's fallen apart, and this Sea Giant is going to maybe be playable next turn. Yeah, it is, but it's not looking like it's going to be enough.
Also delaying it a turn gave them Stormbringer outs on top of their Bloodlust outs. So the reason I'm going back to that one because the game looks pretty over now, although it's not entirely over. You've got to keep your wits about you because Stormbringer can do weird things. Yeah, I think delaying it a turn would be nice.
NTR and Hunter Ace are able to grab yet another Lush minion. This should be the second Rector's Mummy drawn there. And they don't really need to worry about that Sea Giant. It's not going to be killing NTR anytime soon. It alone is not enough.
Just want to note about Turner. We made this observation quite a bit last year, but he gets so much less stressed than he used to now in these big situations.
I wonder.
He used to be very, very nervous, and it was at WSG Europe finals a couple of years, well, about 3 years ago, where he really learned to calm down, and that it is, while everything is on the line, being nervous and worried about it doesn't really help you. And then by the time he won Norway, Oslo last year, he'd really calmed down. And Letta has always been pretty calm. Whenever I've seen him, he's just a very solid professional player.
Mm-hmm.
And they're both going to have another chance, assuming they lose this, because I'm now making that assumption, of 39 health versus 1 minion.
Right.
They're going to have another chance in the lower bracket final tomorrow to still get through to that top 8. From a ridiculously hard group, I hasten to add.
Lightning Storm is one of the better cards to draw. That's not a spell damage totem, but it doesn't matter too much. Storm plus the weapon going in to the card tip plus a zap will allow this Sea Giant to connect to the face once. Or even Mogu plus the zap plus the weapon. Oh no, you want to play the Storm to deal with the 1/2s. But is that enough? Unlikely, but it's a start.
Yeah, you're hanging in there. Again, Stormbringer can do weird and wonderful things. You're not going to win if you don't have minions, so yeah. Opportunity to make some kind of board that will stick. This push won't get there, but a good top deck and a bit of a high roll money. Yeah, this thing's coming in for 16 most likely. So quite a lot of ordering ideas on the line now. You really want to get your Mummy and Weapons Project sorted this turn and into Ziliax, I think.
What
Okay.
now?
Because you don't want to play Ziliax when it's not gaining you health, unless it's doing something good, and it's not really doing anything particularly good.
Yeah, how scary a position are we in here? Is it important to save the Ziliax to gain health?
Unity. Precision.
Like, the counter argument is using the Ziliax now makes it unlikely that you need to use it to gain health later.
That's fair.
The Ziliax
Having Weapons Project
single-handedly...
equipped still...
Yeah. Well, in theory, the Ziliax blocks these 2 attacks. Obviously, as we can see, there's a zap, so that Sea Giant can go face. But again, it doesn't seem to matter too much.
Yeah, double protected, chance of getting Bloodlust down, although obviously the Mummy's still on the board and still has both parts left. The reborn part. Being greedy with Bloodlust, I think that's possibly correct. Very hard to know if you're going to get more. You need to get more, I guess, is the answer. Dr. Boom. You're taking a maximum of 18. Well, no, you're taking a maximum of 27, I guess, if they draw another Bloodlust. So you can safely play Dr. Boom, especially if you're going to kill some stuff. Thunderhead.
Okay. It's a minion. It's got a reasonable body.
With it.
There's a taunt.
Yeah.
That's even better. Okay.
Yeah, they get through the taunt with the hero power though, or the Weapons Project, but the health total's ticking down. Shield Slam's late, but actually it's not late. Shield Slam's perfect with Weapons Project here. It's going to allow them to take down this really annoying giant.
This would be
And they should be able to clear up bits and pieces besides as well. okay. They're scared of the wide board into Soul of the Murlocs, into Bloodlust. I don't know. I'm scared of the Sea Giant far more.
Let the pain speak to me.
So I don't see how you're getting rid of this Sea Giant now.
I mean, being scared of it is a big statement. It is still only dealing...
No, sure, I'm not
and
scared of it.
This sounds ridiculous. Only 8 damage per turn.
Oh! Spirit of the Frog into Bloodlust guarantees them the Stormbringer from the
Oh, of course
Frog.
it does.
So that's a good deal.
I genuinely forgot about that interaction because we see it so infrequently.
Yeah, it's very rare the game goes long enough for both of them to matter and not to have been drawn already.
Okay, and it's guaranteed transformation on the frog in theory.
Yep, and on the minion you roll next turn.
And on the death rattle from the Sea Giant. Wow.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, this
On
Storm
the other
Guardian
side, though,
story Stormbringer might actually turn around the game.
it is possible for sure. Yeah, the Warrior's low on cards. It is picking up good stuff still. And we're past the point now where having all that early removal means they're not going to draw much. They've drawn so much in the meantime, so they should be able to pick up some to get rid of things. And they know the hand. They know the exact hand of Italy now. So they've got perfect information. And Hunter Ace is super good with perfect information. As is NTR, but yeah, singing Hunter Ace's praises once again.
Goodbye, board.
Mm-hmm.
It was nice knowing you.
Yeah, the second that Falcone mentions that the frog is guaranteed to survive, you know Warpath's the next card, because that's what always happens in Hearthstone.
Alright.
Cast
Hair
is
or
cursed
voltaic
everything.
burst. Hair or voltaic burst. No, not you. So it's just going to be Zenith and Hero Power pass. There is a high-ish chance of a voltaic burst or a hair being drawn. So
Yeah.
gonna hold off for a little longer.
Yeah, they're going maximum greed, and rightly so, I think.
Yep, Xena survives the turn. Kakar's a little scary.
I mean, yeah, the main deal with Hakar is that outer removal, and Hakar deals with stuff.
Alright, I think it's Hero Power, Stormbringer, and then Evolve if need be.
Sure. It's a shame, but here it goes.
Oh,
Cairn
Ken
against
is...
Warrior's good. Snip Snap's good.
They're fine, but I don't think they're good enough, Lorinda. So now the question is a random 7-drop better than Ken?
No.
I don't think so
You
either.
save the evolve for the hair, I think. I don't mind if they evolve this, but I think with the death rattles, you can evolve the death rattle things next turn if they're not cleared up.
Yeah,
So you
that's
can use
true.
them to trade or attack or whatever, and then evolve the spare bits that come from them.
Oof! The face tank.
And there was a very long decision-making process there, and so Norway have a pretty good idea what this card is, I think. Because of the ordering, they played the Stormbringer really quickly, then thought forever.
Yeah. It could have been a mutate.
Sure, but again, they still know it's that
An
sort
evolve
of
mechanic
card.
card. Yeah.
Meaning you really want to kill both parts of this cairn, which I don't think they can do. So instead they're going to take out as much of the snip snap as they dare. And finally get the card 2 onto the table. It's been a really arduous process for Norway of trying to seal this game up. Still very low on the move if a hair is drawn. But now they're starting to get their own attack values up is the big problem.
Oh!
Hair time.
Well, this is it now. This is make or break. Final chance for Turner to get something that can win this game. Hey!
I am not a fan of rolling that totem first. I'll let you know that now.
I lagged out,
because
didn't
you
hear
want
what
to
you just
taunt
said, but
defense
Warbear's
point
okay,
stuff.
right? Okay.
Yeah, it's fine. Sleepy guy's not so good. Sunstroke henchman or
Sleepy guy.
something.
Face me, you tilted tyrant.
Oh,
Wait.
dear.
Okay, because they worked out there wasn't much stuff in terms of minions left in the deck. They would rather have a 3/8 than... Yeah, that's fine.
Yep.
So there's still a bloodlust left in the deck. So Norway need to be very vigilant here to get rid of as much of this rubbish as they can. It seems like they're going to manage quite easily. I leave Sleepy Guy up, by the way, in this situation.
Yep. Sleepy guy can only attack.
It's pretty
50
close either way.
times.
Yeah, he can't attack 4 turns on the trot, basically.
Okay.
I mean, he can. He can win 4 rolls, but he's not going to. That's just not how Sleepy Guy works.
Okay. Of course, Lorinda comes straight in with the stats and what they really mean.
Yeah, the simple version is if it attacks 4 times in a row, you're unlucky. And now the warrior has finally, after a terrifying scare, got decent control over this.
Yep. And once again, Turner finds himself in a position where there's really not that much that can get him out of this bind. I mean, if there's still a Voltaic Burst or something in the deck, then at least he can do
It's
something this
drawn
turn.
out,
But
so.
yeah, it's just not going to end up being relevant. And it looks like, Lorinda, we can finally say with some element of confidence that NTR and Hunter Race, that Norway are going to be the first team in Group C to qualify to the top 8 of the Hearthstone Global Games.
Yeah, they looked like they were going to do it so easily after those first 2 games, and then Italy came roaring back into it. Still in a great position, Italy. Obviously, got to win the deciding game now against either the United Kingdom or whoever they're playing against, because I always do this at the end of every single broadcast. France, thank you very much. But they're in a great spot. Although UK and France, what a match that should be. Italy give it up. Kraut's confidence was well placed. And that was a good one. That was a very good one.
It was an exciting series. I mean, this has been an exciting group, to be honest. Plagued a little bit by the fact that all 4 of the teams in this group did bring Warrior. So we've had a few of those long games, but still really exciting overall. And a huge congratulations to Norway. I'm thrilled to see Hunter and TR one more time make it through, as they did make the top few teams at BlizzCon and HG last year. It's cool to see them achieve great things again as the first group to qualify, or the first team to qualify in Group C. And so now it's a case of who gets knocked out. Tomorrow, France versus the United Kingdom will be the first game, and then Italy will face the winner of that game. The loser of that one will be eliminated as well. The winner will join Norway in qualifying for the top 8.
Yeah, and they're going to be joined by Denmark, the Czech Republic, and as you saw, the group we completed today, Hong Kong and Chinese Taipei, putting out Argentina and Mexico, who I was enjoying so much. Argentina, who gave us so much all through the year. More to come from them in GM, of course, next year. And we shall see. But Hong Kong, Chinese Taipei looking very strong. I think Hong Kong looked really strong and Chinese Taipei looked stronger as it went on, is I think how you described it.
Yeah, I think absolutely. Exciting games all around. And then after we finish with Group C tomorrow, we will then be doing Group A finally and finding out which of the teams in that final group will be qualifying for the top 8. But that is us finished for today. You have had 9 hours of Hearthstone action, and I'm sure there'll be potentially another 9 tomorrow. But for now, from our wonderful production team, from Derek, who I hope is getting a good rest after his 3 series on the chart, from Lorinda, from myself, we hope that you've enjoyed today's broadcast, and we will see you again tomorrow at 2 p.m. CET. See you then.